Hi there. It's our pleasure to have you join us today for our half-hour journey through this weekend's edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. Coming up, we head on to the Western Roundup Trail. Also, learn how you can measure your daily calorie intake and see some of the opportunities for trade and business in Jamaica. Another interesting mix of informative features worth your time. So sit back and relax as it all unfolds right after this important message.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
The best indicator of Jamaica's capacity in managing the health system would be the number of beds that we have. And we have to be very careful about how we as a country loosen our measures, because very rapidly this virus could spread and the number of beds that we have could easily be used up. That would throw us into a crisis. It was not so long ago, in February, that we approached that crisis level. We do not want to get there again.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
We begin today's journey out west with team member Nikita Sterling piloting us through our Western Roundup segment. Come with us for a look at an empowerment program benefiting youth in Westmoreland and more developments to see in Flanker St. James. Buckle up, the journey starts now.
Hi, today on Western Roundup, we head to Westmoreland where over 40 youngsters graduated from a youth empowerment program. Then we hop over to Flanker in St. James where residents are beaming with pride over their newly refurbished health center. Stay with us.
Young people from across Westmoreland have been better equipped to take up their role as future community leaders, having recently participated in the Social Development Commission's inaugural Young Educated Leaders Lead Program YEL. The initiative, which is sought to build leadership skills among the youth, is being hailed as a success.
It was great because, I contribute my success overall in my 19 years so far of life to the opportunities that I've been given. And this program was just another opportunity to better myself, to learn more, and you can never stop learning. So this program was just another step to learning. So it was awesome.
Personally, it helped me with my confidence. It helps me to move towards things, and I'm also planning to create a youth club in my community, so it's been a good experience so far. Yes, I would recommend a program like this to wider Jamaica, to occupy young males like myself in making progress and being productive.
The program, which lasted just over a month, included training sessions in parliamentary procedures, team building, good citizenship, debate, and other activities. The venture also served as a platform for succession planning.
This training program is an idea that came up when we saw the deficiencies in the parish of Westmoreland. Many of our leaders have been serving for many years and they're now elderly persons. What we sought to do was to get young people trained to ensure that they can be succession planning within the framework of governance in the parish. And so these young persons were trained to ensure that the leadership continues and that they succeed, those who have served for many, many years.
The YEL program began in October and concluded on November 20 with a debate competition and closing ceremony at the Source in Savannah Lamar under the theme Youth, the Cornerstone of Nation Building.
If participation in community development is not relevant, as the opposition will claim, then how exactly is the common citizen expected to be an active one and not a passive one? How does the ordinary higgler or local shop owner or just any other community member play their part in nation building? How does the progression of communities become a reality?
Meanwhile, over in Flanker St. James, the residents are expressing gratitude for the recently rehabilitated Flanker Health Center. The project, which was completed in April, included the construction of 2 new consultation rooms, 2 treatment rooms, a health inspector's office, and an administrative office. The facility also received a new roofing and perimeter fencing.
I'm just glad for this center now and the improvement that it will be to the community and other adjoining communities. This health center was here so long and we needed the change, and now the change has come. I don't think we as residents we are glad for it, and I hope all residents will facilitate it and use it wisely.
Yes, I like how they upgraded. It's so beautiful. I like it.
What I'm seeing I've done to this community, it's so wonderful. The health center, we get a better health center in this community. I can come and take my pressure, heart problem, whatever, them check me. And it's so wonderful. We have a nice building here. Oh my God, we get a good health center in this community of Flanker.
More than 3,000 residents in Flanker and neighboring communities are expected to benefit from the health center. The facility was rehabilitated at a cost of 47.3 million Jamaican dollars under the Jamaica Social Investment Fund (JSIF) Poverty Reduction Program, with funding by the European Union.
That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed the program. As usual, thanks for joining us for Western Roundup, where we take you from the corners of St. Elizabeth to the hilly terrains of St. Anne. Remember to send your feedback to jismobe@jis.gov.jm. Until next time, take care.
Getting the first dose is not an excuse not to wear the mask, not to social distance or physical distance, not to sanitize. Getting the first dose is not justification for deciding that you're going to resume the parties, the gatherings beyond the limits that have been established. The journey is to observe the protocols, take the second dose when it is time, and then we will resume some semblance of normalcy once we achieve herd immunity.
Your health is your wealth is a popular saying, and eating balanced meals is a crucial part of maintaining your good health. But how do you eat healthy? Well, you can start with knowing your daily calorie intake and what is found in the foods you eat. Keep watching to learn more.
Your body needs energy, and we call this our daily requirements of calories. And for Jamaican men, it's about 2,100. For Jamaican women, it's about 1,900 calories per day. The calorie is just a unit of energy to say how much energy you need to get around your daily activities and so on. If you're more active and you're not in a desk job, then you're going to burn more calories. If you go to work, when you get up in the morning, you sit in a car and you go to work, you sit at a desk all day, and then lunchtime come, you order and they deliver the food to you, and then you eat that and you go back and sit again, and then you sit in a bus or a car and you go home. So you're sitting all day, you're not doing much, versus somebody who's on the road and they're walking around or they're standing all day like the teachers and nurses and so on. Then you'll realize the difference in how much energy you will need. And so if you are more active, you should be eating a little bit more. But the problem is that everybody is eating as if they're working in sugarcane fields, chopping cane all day. And this is the problem. So we consume more calories than we are burning off. And every day, if we keep on consuming calories, you need 3,500 calories to make 1 pound of fat. One soda, if you look on the serving size for these things, these juices and so on, you'll think that, oh, it's just 110 calories. But how many servings come in that container? about 3 or 2.5. So you can easily drink 300 calories like that. And if you do that 5 times for the day, that's 1,500 calories. You almost don't need to eat anything else for the rest of the day. So the excess calories come in the body, and then the body begins to store them as fat. And then you put on more weight and more weight. You have to watch the pastries and the breads and all of these things that people, even when they're vegetarian, they still have a lot of these little snacks and so on. These things are full of calories. You know that one of the cream crackers is about 450 calories. Water crackers is about 500. Yeah, nobody don't want to hear. I never want to believe it either. But this is what you get, the packs that you get, and a lot of people eat them with butter, right? So can you imagine how many calories you're putting in your body with one little snack? And you don't talk about the tea yet, with the milk, the condensed milk and the sugar that you have to have that with. All of these things, they add up without you even knowing.
The ingredients label will go from the most to the least in the product. So if the product is making a claim, look at where that claim is. If it is 1, 2, or 3, because if it falls less than that, you're really not getting value for your money, right, in terms of content. The nutrition facts. One of the first things you're going to look at is the servings per container, and this says 2.5, which means it's 2.5 servings in the container. You are not supposed to drink it, you must share it, right? And then you're going to look at your calories. It says 90 calories, but it's 90 calories per serving, and it's 2.5 servings. So it's 2.5 times 90, which comes out to about 225. And then you come down and you look at your sugar, and it's 22 grams of sugar, but it's per serving. So the entire container is 2.5 times 22, which works out to about 55, 56 if my maths is right. And there's 4 grams equal 1 teaspoon, so you end up with about roughly 14 teaspoons of sugar. And that is, you use this template for all the products that have nutritional facts on them. This is 14 teaspoons of sugar, and the American Heart Association recommends that for an adult male, you're supposed to consume 9 teaspoons of added sugar per day. For an adult female, it is 6 teaspoons of added sugar per day. And for a child, it's less than 6 teaspoons per day. And a child here, we're talking about from 2 to 18 years old. Don't look at a container and judge it by the size alone. It's very important to read the label so you know exactly. And look at it. 220 calories. For parents, we're asking them, to be very mindful of how much sugar they're giving their kids, right? Because it impacts upon their health in the long term.
We try to provide information to parents and guardians, teachers, anyone about the alternatives to these sugary drinks, because really you don't need them in your diet. You can get enough sugar that you need from the foods that you eat, the carbohydrates, which are converted to sugars in your body, which give you energy. So some of the alternatives are, of course, water. It's the best one, but there's also fresh fruit juices. So blending your own juices without adding sugar, and you'll have the natural sugars and fiber from the fruits. There's coconut water. You should actually drink this in moderation because it does have quite a high sugar content, but it is a good alternative. For the children, freezing the juices into popsicles or ice cubes so that it's more interesting for them to drink, as well as doing infused water. So infused water is it's a process where you cut up your favorite fruit or vegetable or even mint leaves or aloe. You place it in water overnight so that the vitamins, the minerals, all the goodness from the fruits and vegetables are infused into the water, and you can have that. It's not sugar sweetened, and it gives you the vitamins and minerals that you need throughout the day. And then for children, there's unsweetened milk. So not flavored milks like the chocolate milk, but unsweetened milk doesn't have a high sugar content, and it also will give the children the calcium that they need for their growing bodies as well.
those of us who do not believe that COVID is real and that it is here, have you been to one of those hospitals where the wards are overflowing with patients who are trying to breathe and talk at the same time, but find it so impossible to do so? Or have you seen someone die in front of you, trying to make the next breath to stay alive? So my fellow Jamaicans and colleagues, whether you believe it or not, COVID is real. So I implore you, social distance, wash your hands, wear your mask, sanitize. Along with that, we need to keep our immune system nice and healthy, so you drink lots of water, eat your fruits and vegetables. But whether we believe it or not, COVID is here, it is here to stay, it's going to be the new norm. And remember, when you behave irresponsible, you expose all of us. So do the responsible thing.
How important is mental health? I'd say very. We all can be confronted with anxiety, worry, stress, fear, and other factors that impact our mental well-being. But we can avoid the more debilitating effects by doing practical things that help boost our mental health. More in this next feature.
It is normal to feel sad, stressed, confused, scared, or overwhelmed during a crisis such as that caused from the COVID-19 pandemic. But there's no need to. For one, we must first inform ourselves about this disease through reliable sources to determine our risk and precautions to take. This can go a far way in calming our fears and ensuring our safety. Keeping in touch with family and friends and talking to people you trust, even as we practice social distancing, can help prevent panicking and keep you in good spirits. If you must stay at home during this period, try to maintain a healthy lifestyle of proper diet, adequate sleep, and regular exercise. Don't use smoking, alcohol, or other drugs to deal with your emotions. If you feel overwhelmed, talk to someone about it, a healthcare provider or counselor that you can call. Ensure that you're fully engaged in something constructive to occupy your time. An arrangement with your employer to work from home where possible is good in helping to keep up normal daily routines. Limit the time you and your family spend watching, listening, or in conversations about COVID-19 that you perceive as scary or upsetting to avoid being overwhelmed. Make sure you are in the know generally, but try to engage more in other things or change the topic of your conversations to things you enjoy talking about. Draw on the skills that have helped you manage previous adversities. It's important to try to maintain some sort of daily agenda so that the days are not wasted and you'll feel more accomplished. Focus on activities that make you feel happy, like reading a book, watching your favorite show, playing video games with your family, or telling stories. Do some gardening or chores around the home too. Children too need to be provided with the information to help them understand the risks without becoming scared and confused. Use age-appropriate language to teach them about hand washing, cough and sneezing etiquette, and social distancing. It's also important to reassure them about what could happen if they start feeling sick and may have to go to the hospital so doctors can help them feel better. And give them extra time and attention. Listen, speak kindly, comfort them, and of course, make time to play. When it comes to easing fear and anxiety around COVID-19, just consider that once we do what's necessary to protect ourselves and prevent spread, we should be well. If we do get sick, rest assured our doctors are trained to manage the illness and help us recover. And yes, while we maintain proper cough etiquette, cover our noses when we sneeze, and practice social distancing, we must treat each other with care and respect. Don't be startled by every cough or sneeze. Remember, not everyone who does has the virus. Take care of yourself, support others, don't panic.
Bad bacteria we can't stop fight. Antibiotics, take them Antibiotics. Come let me tell you how to take them right. Only take them from professionals with medical credentials. Do not share them with friends or relations. Use prescriptions, follow instructions. Take them till them done with no interruptions. Bad bacteria we can't stop fight. Antibiotics, take them right.
Brought to you by the UWI Mona, Ministry of Health, National Health Fund, PAHO WHO.
Jamaica to the world is an island paradise and a tourism mecca, but Jamaica is big on business and is open for trade. Here's a look at some of the opportunities and offerings.
Our story is one of resilience, where the versatility and hardiness of wood and the adaptability and openness of water have created a nation that is Talawa. It is this philosophy that has enabled a robust business environment, recognized as the country with the world's highest performing stock market, the best Caribbean country for doing business, the easiest place to start a business and to get credit, #1 in the Caribbean and 8th in Latin America and the Caribbean for cargo movement, the best destination in the Caribbean. This is Jamaica, Jamrock, the place called Yard. This philosophy has birthed a competitive business environment supporting large-scale investments through developments in infrastructure, governance, manufacturing, trade, and logistics and services. With an area of 10,911 square kilometers from north to west and east to south, 150 kilometers of world-class highways traversing woodlands and green fields remain the bedrock of the economy. From there, supporting road networks journey through stories that resonate in the hearts of families. 3 international airports, with the Caribbean's leading Sangster International Airport, and 4 domestic landing strips extend the creative and enterprising spirit of those who call this rock home, all supported by a robust maritime industry. Jamaica's stable democratic governance structure is balanced by strong legislative and executive arms with an independent judiciary. This system facilitates numerous trade and bilateral partnerships that have generated over $6 billion United States dollars in foreign direct investment, or FDI, over the past 10 years. With improved fiscal management, the Green Isle of the Indies is the 3rd largest recipient of FDI inflows in the Caribbean and the 2nd largest in the small island developing states. The country remains a prime manufacturing hub. The natural resources and the supportive framework creates an ideal ecosystem for agro-processing, light assembly and contract manufacturing, fabrication and limestone-based industries. Homegrown conglomerates including Grace Kennedy, Continental Baking Company Limited, Jamaica Producers Group Limited and Red Stripe are several of the brands recognized internationally for excellence. With expanded and upgraded port facilities island-wide, the country is capitalizing on the additional trade opportunities accessible through the docking of post-Panamax ships. These investments have positioned the Port of Kingston as the Caribbean's 2nd largest transshipment and multi-purpose hub. With 51 designated special economic zones, Jamaica is emerging as the 4th global logistics node interconnecting continents and people. With a sustainability approach, the expansion and build-out of economic zones are creating the ideal conditions for attracting global investments. Service with a smile and a no-problem attitude defines the service industry in Jamaica. This sector contributes to over 2/3 of the country's gross domestic product, thus asserting the industry as a key growth area. This is further supported by a cost-competitive workforce. Jamaica remains the largest English-speaking country in the Western Hemisphere. With an enabling infrastructure for investment and growth, This little rock is a business paradise with prime opportunities for swift delivery to consumers and substantial cost savings. So whether it is 19 degrees north or just over 3 hours from the United States mainland, choose your spot. Let's meet and discuss. Where multi-hued seas kiss sandy beaches, palm trees provide shade for notepads, and refreshment is the universal taste of yard.
In terms of making shopping safe, shop online, and when shopping in stores, stay 6 feet apart from others and make sure you're wearing your mask. And make sure you check yourself for symptoms before leaving home. So if you're ill, please stay home and don't go out shopping at this point in time. For persons who we know are more vulnerable and at high risk, shop early or ask someone to pick up items for you in the store. Use curbside pickup and delivery options if that is available and feasible for you. For our businesses, we know you expect increased pedestrian traffic. Make sure your hand sanitization station is accessible, easily accessible, especially immediately on entry to your business. Make sure you're enforcing physical distancing, not only within the business space itself, but outside. Offer online and telephone services as much as possible for as many services as possible within your business. Offer delivery services if that is an option. Have options for short interactions to be expedited, and make sure you have reminders of the infection prevention and control measures within your business so that you can remind your clients of what is expected.
We are at the end of our half-hour journey through the pages of Jamaica Magazine. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for another show. Until then, there is more to watch on our website, jis.gov.jm, or our YouTube channel. Also, check out all the major social media platforms and our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you that COVID-19 is still a key. So get vaccinated and wear your mask. Wash your hands and sanitize regularly. Till next time, keep safe.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.